Hey guys, welcome to my live day trading series. I'll be posting all my afternoon trading sessions with commentary on my thoughts behind each trade. If you're interested in day trading, then please do like this video and subscribe for more. And if you have any questions, just comment below and I'll be happy to help. I mainly trade the S&P 500 futures, aiming to scalp for a 1-point profit at a time, which is about $50 if you trade one contract. I trade 3 contracts and aim to do 3 to 4 successful trades every day to make a grand total of around $450 to $600 per session. What you're seeing here is the S&P 500 chart. I live in the UK, so the market opens around 2:30, and I like to spend the first 10 minutes just analyzing what happened, drawing trend lines, and mark the highest and lowest points of the day. And then it's just a matter of waiting for the setup to appear. A few minutes after I opened up the market, the first setup is already here, which is a two-legged pullback forming. Generally what prices like to do is they like to move in pairs of two, either upwards or downwards. And here there's a strong upward trend and there's a two-legged pullback, and most likely it will continue the trend upwards. So what I do is I like to stalk for a good entry point, and for me a good entry point is right after a bullish candle closes when trading an upwards trend. So I actually kind of messed up a little here. I wasn't fully settled in yet and I completely missed a good entry point. But since there is such a strong upward pressure, I just waited for a couple of minutes until the next candle closed, and then I placed in my entry there. Normally this would have already ended with a 1-point profit, which would have been $150 in just a few seconds. But in any case, we have our first successful trade for the day. That's 1-0 to us and 3 more to go. And just a couple of minutes later, we have our next setup. And here what I'm looking to do is essentially trap those traders who think that this will bounce off the first trend line and come collapsing down. So this is why it's very important to draw trend lines and pay attention to what the prices are doing. I mean, they could be right, but if they are wrong and it breaks past this point, then there'll be a mass panic with traders scrambling to get out, and all I do is provide those poor traders a way to get out. And it looks like it did break through, so what we have to do now is wait for that to get matched. And there we go, that's 2-0 within about half an hour and a grand total of $300 already. The next trade took another 30 minutes of waiting around, but we got our next trade, which is another two-legged pullback. Again, I'm prepared and stalking for an entry point. If you're wondering how I know where the bar is going to close, I have a tick counter just below which shows the remaining number of ticks for this bar to close. And since this is a 2000 tick chart, it means each bar represents 2000 ticks. Terrible execution there, but it's in. I usually like to place it in a tick higher so that just in case it goes the wrong direction, I won't lose anything. Also, this stalking strategy is basically to make up for the terrible response time of my trackpad, and that's partially because I'm running this software on a Windows 10 bootcamp on my MacBook Pro, because unfortunately NinjaTrader doesn't natively work on Macs. If you have a Windows PC with a good mouse, then you probably don't have to do what I do and just directly enter the trade when you think it's right. This is taking its sweet time. Normally once I open a trade, it doesn't last more than a few seconds, and when it does take longer, I tend to panic a little, and hence why I moved the stop loss to the break-even point. There is no reason to give up any of my profits if it doesn't look too good. But ends all well with another success, bringing us to $450. So that's 3-0, 1 more to go. And then just minutes later we have our next trade, which is slightly more risky, but since we already have made $450, why not? I decided to take the risk and went short at the top of the trend line. In all honesty, the risk was actually very low because this trend line seems pretty strong, as the price has bounced off this line 4 times already. So I was pretty confident that I would get at least 1 point, even if it does end up breaking through this line afterwards. So my strategy here is just to look for setups to make a 1 point profit. I may miss out on big swings and massive profits, but that's okay. What I'm looking for is small regular profits with more than 90% success rate. So I would love to trade longer, but I do have a full-time job, and so I would end up with no free time if I ended up trading for any longer. So I decided to keep my maximum trading sessions to about 2 hours, and hopefully in the future I could trade full-time. If you're wondering why I'm still working if I make $600 a day, the truth is, even though I've been learning and practicing for several years, today is my first actual live day trade. The hope is that I will be able to replicate the hundreds of thousands of dollars that I made in my demo account, but this time with real money. So eventually this position did close, which made me another $150 profit. So overall bringing us to 4-0 and $600 for the day, which is about £500 in UK. So my starting bank is $2,000, which I have increased to $2,600 today. Each trade uses $1,500 because I'm trading 3 contracts and one contract needs $500. So hopefully you guys will follow along and see how much this bank grows by. So do subscribe and look out for the next episode of live day trading.